video, I'm going to help you to stop feeling frustrated. Frustration is typically looked at as a negative feeling, a negative emotion, something that we would rather not feel. But let's look into what frustration really is. Let's look into it. If we want to stop feeling so frustrated in life, well, we gotta start really looking into what frustration is and what's actually the source of frustration. Otherwise, you're going to continue to feel frustrated. So we have to look at what the source of frustration is. So if we look at our life and look at times where we feel frustrated, can we see that it's typically when life isn't going the way that we want it to? Life isn't happening according to our expectations. That's really what's happening, is that we have an expectation of the way things should be. And when life is happening in a different way, we get frustrated. This is hard for us to really see in the moment because we're usually unaware that we've been creating all these desires and expectations that then are not fulfilled. See, if you create a desire and that desire is unfulfilled, meaning it doesn't happen, then we typically get frustrated or we get angry. And typically when we have our desire fulfilled, then there's a little taste of this little happiness. But that's a conditional type of happiness. It's not the real thing. It's conditional. And what do we usually want? Well, we want more of the same thing, right? So we have a desire, and the desire, whatever we desire, if we fulfill the desire, we just want more. If the desire is unfulfilled, we get frustrated or angry. It's that simple. It's that simple. So when we look at why we're getting so frustrated, look at the desire. Look at the desire. Look at the expectations that we're attached to. Look at the desire that we're attached to. There's nothing wrong with desires, but it's our attachment to the desires that are the problem. It's our attachment to the expectations that's the problem. Right? So when we have the desires and these expectations that then are not being fulfilled, we're constantly frustrated. Why isn't life going? Right? If you could create the narrative of frustration, things aren't going my way. I'm frustrated. Right? Well, why does life have to go your way? If life is going your way, what about my way? What about someone else's way? Right? So what makes more sense? Life is just happening. Life just is. What needs to be let go of? Your idea of how life should be. That's the attachment. That's what we're holding on to. We're holding on to our idea of how life should go. We're holding on to beliefs that things need to be this way. It's our attachments to the beliefs. It's our attachments to the desire. It's our attachment to expectations. It's our attachment to the idea of how life should be that create the frustration and anger. So as long as we are holding on tightly to these beliefs, these expectations, these desires, these ideas or concepts of life, then we're destined to be frustrated and angry, right? So when we can see that the source of that frustration, the source of that anger is really unfulfilled expectations, unfulfilled desires, life happening a little differently than how we think it should happen. See that life is happening whether you like it or not. See that life doesn't call you up and say, hey, how do you think life should be? Well, then let me show up as that. It never does. So common sense, it's not so common, but practically, what makes more sense? To simply accept life as it is, which is also letting go of your idea of how life should be. Until we let go of that idea of how life should be, our expectations, our desires, then we're constantly going to be frustrated in life. We're constantly going to be angry. Things aren't happening my way. I thought it was supposed to happen like this. How could this happen? I have a belief that this desire is going to get me that happiness. Of course we get frustrated and angry when that's the belief. If the belief that some sort of material object is going to be the one thing that makes me happy, and I don't get that material object, oh, that's it. I'm frustrated. I'm angry. If I have an expectation that my kids need to be a certain way, and they're not being that certain way, I get frustrated. If I have an expectation that everything's got to go smoothly according to plan, and things aren't going smoothly according to plan, I get frustrated. Look at the source of it. Look at the source of it. How, without that frustration, or to remove that frustration, is simply to just accept life. Is to look at this with some higher levels of consciousness, some more wisdom to look at it. That right now in this moment, life just is. So can we be okay with this? Can we accept life as is? If I can't accept life as is, I'm constantly in a state of frustration and anger. Because I'm holding on to my idea of life, and I'm believing more in my idea of life compared to just accepting life as is. It's like I'm rejecting life. I don't want it. I don't want it. Why does life just keep on serving me? I don't want it. It's like being at a restaurant and the waiter keeps on bringing you food that you didn't order. It's like they continue, you're ordering steak and potato and some asparagus and all the other stuff that comes with it, and they bring you out spaghetti and meatballs. You get frustrated, right? You get frustrated. Then you start getting angry. Why this? Can't the universe, can't God just simply get my order right? Right? So then we get frustrated. Whereas what makes sense? Just let go of the order. Let go of the expectations. Accept whatever is. They bring you out spaghetti meatballs. All right, good. You find yourself, when you accept life as is, there's happiness. When you're always in resistance to it, there's suffering. And suffering comes in many different forms. And a lot of it is frustration and anger. When I'm frustrated, when I'm angry, I'm hurting myself. It's destructive to myself. Yes, it will also destroy relationships and your family and your workplace, because it's very much like a fire inside you. It's very much like a toxin. You become toxic. It starts destroying things around you. It's not fun to hang around someone who's always frustrated and angry. So you start losing friends. Relationships are falling apart. Someone's always frustrated and angry. Everyone feels like they're gotta walk on eggshells around you, because you're gonna get all frustrated and angry at whatever. But the simplest thing, which is not the easiest thing, is to look at this, with higher awareness, with your awareness, is to look at what expectations for just anything in your life, and life in general, what expectations are you holding? What expectations do you have? Right? Because if your expectation is something here, and then life shows up as this, well, that gap is unhappiness. And would you agree that being frustrated and angry in life is unhappiness? Of course. So when I don't have the expectation, then there's only happiness. You accept whatever is. And there's just a tranquil state of mind instead of the ups and downs and the emotional roller coaster, where a lot of us find ourselves more in the downs, more of the frustration and the anger, instead of just more of the steady, right? So when we look at that, how do you don't want to stop feeling frustrated. Just look at the source that's causing the frustration. Look at the source that's causing the frustration. Look at the attachments to the desires that you have. Look at the attachment to the expectations that you have. Look at the attachments to your beliefs about how life should be. Should. Right? Remove that. Because that's personal. That's your opinion. That's your thoughts. It's your idea, your concepts. Life is just happening. Right? Life is just happening. It has nothing to do with your personal ideas of life. That's just you. You're putting that on life. So of course, when it shows up differently than your expectations, it's kind of like you're matching. Well, here's my expectation. Here's life. Oh, this looks a lot different than my idea of how it should be. I'm angry. Can't life just get it right? Can't it just be more like my idea of life? So I get frustrated and I get angry. So when we start looking at the source, it makes it very clear of what we need to let go of. What we need to let go of, because the more we let go, the happier we are. Because what we're holding on to, although we can't see it, we're holding on to unhappiness. So just let it go, and you'll be happier.